The Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has officially assumed office as the chairman of the Intergovernmental Group of 24, popularly known as G24, marking a new phase for the coalition of emerging and developing economies. Welcome to Business Point, where we extract the Nigerian economy and the government policies. I am Kike Lomo Okere. Speaking on the challenges ahead, the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, noted that the assumption of Nigerians' chairmanship coincides with a period of unprecedented global challenges. It says emerging and developing economies are navigating an increasingly difficult landscape marked by structural weaknesses, debt distress, and limited access to capital. He pointed out that more than half of low-income countries are already in or nearing debt distress, while over a quarter of emerging and developing economies have lost access to international capital markets. Edu warns that the world faces a $4 trillion to $5 trillion annual financing gap in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, stressing that a comprehensive reform of a global financing system is now an urgent imperative. Another major concern he noted is the demographic transition underway, with an estimated 1.2 billion young people expected to join the global workforce over the next 10 to 15 years, competing for 400 million available jobs. He noted that these demographic challenges requires a bold structural transformation and policy coordination to deliver job-rich growth. Under Nigerian leadership, the central theme guiding G24 will be optimizing resource development for inclusive, job-rich economic transformation. Edu explained that this vision encompasses human, financial, physical, and natural resources, all directed towards sustainable and inclusive growth. He noted that Nigerian chairmanship will pursue 5 major strategies goal. The first is reforming the global financial architecture to create a fairer and more inclusive international system. This, he says, will involve strengthening the global financial safety net at the International Monetary Fund, expanding concessional financing through multilateral development banks, advancing governance reform, and modernizing payment system to support local currency trade. The second priority, according to the minister, is enhancing domestic resource mobilization and international tax cooperation. Under this objective, the G24 will deepen engagement on the global tax agenda, promote transparency, combat illicit financial flows, and reform domestic tax system to expand fiscal space for development. A third focus area is mobilizing innovative finance for development. Edu explained that the G24 will promote innovative financing models that reward reform-minded countries while supporting financial instruments such as blended finance, green bond, and sustainability-linked debt swap to align financial flows with development goals. The fourth strategic goal centers on strengthening regional integration and value-added manufacturing. Nigeria intends to champion regional economic cooperation to enhance competitiveness, attract investment in value-added manufacturing, and promote South-South collaboration to boost industry productivities across member nations. Finally, the G24, under Nigeria's leadership, will prioritize advancing climate finance and supporting just energy transition. Edun says his chairmanship will advocate for a climate transition that reflects the reality of energy deficient but resource-rich nations, promotes resilient infrastructure, and encourage sustained commitment to climate targets, particularly as global energy demand rises with the spread of artificial intelligence technologies. Edu says Nigerian leadership will seek to deepen the G24 influence in global financial governance and ensure that developing economies have a stronger voice in shaping international financial decisions. Despite its name, the G24 currently comprises 29 full member countries from Africa, Asia, and Latin America, as well as the Caribbean. Its African members include Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Egypt, Kenya, Ethiopia, Algeria, and Morocco, among others. China participates as a special invitee, with Nigeria now at the helm. Edu says he is committed to steering the bloc towards a more responsive and inclusive global financial system that prioritizes sustainable development, regional cooperation, and prosperity for all. He formally took over the chairmanship from Luis Capito, Minister of Treasury of Argentina. Edu says he was honored to take the role and paid tribute to his predecessors for his exemplary leadership and stewardship. According to him, Argentina tenors significantly strengthened the G24's voice and relevance at a critical time in global economic discourse. Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves are projected to rise to $45 billion by the end of 2025, driven by strong investors' confidence following the country's successful $2.3 billion Eurobond issuance. According to the investment house Cardinal Stone, in its microeconomic update released, the firm says the robust appetite for the Eurobond, which recorded a 5.5x oversubscription, reflects renewed investors' optimism about Nigeria's macroeconomic trajectory. The robust demand at the auction indicates that investors are confident in Nigeria's macroeconomic narrative. Credit rating upgrade from major agencies contributed to this confidence, reflecting a perceived decline in sovereign risk and a bolstering of the country's credibility in the global debt market. Cardinal Stone projected that the Eurobond inflow will strengthen Nigerian external position and improve currency stability through reserve accretion. Cardinal Stone estimated that Nigeria's year-end debt level will rise to 166.7 trillion naira, that is 42.2% of the GDP. In a separate assessment, commercial partners described the Eurobond successive as a positive signal for Nigerian fiscal outlook, though it warns that the gains could be undermined if exchange rate instability resurfaces. Commercial partners says the inflow boosts external reserve, provides fiscal breathing space, and enhance the government capacity to meet short-term obligations. On the other hand, it raises exposure to foreign exchange risk and heightened interest burden in hard currency. As of June 30th, 2025, Nigerian total public debt stood at 152.40 trillion naira, that is $99.66 billion, with external debt of 46.98 billion naira, which amount to 47%, and domestic obligation of $52.67 billion, which is about 53%. According to the Debt Management Office, the DMO confirmed that proceeds from the Eurobond sales will support this 2025 federal budget and refinance part of the Nigerian maturing external obligation, including the $1.118 billion Eurobond due in November 2025. While Nigerian debt to GDP ratio remains below the 40% sustainability threshold, analysts caution that the high debt service to revenue ratio above 40% continues to limit fiscal flexibility and heighten vulnerability to external shocks. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Gbenga Komolafe, has expressed optimism that Nigerian crude oil output will soon witness a significant boost following the completion of a new offshore production facility. Komolafe expressed his excitement in a statement issued by the Commission's head of Media and Strategic Communication, Eniola Akinkotu, after an official visit to Dubai Dry Docks World in the United Arab Emirates, where he inspected float production, storage and offloading vessel, which is currently undergoing final conversion works. The visit formed part of the Commission's regulatory oversight function to assess the vessel's sail-away readiness ahead of the deployment of the Nigerian waters. According to the statement, the FPSO is being converted for Oriental Energy Resources Limited and will be deployed to Okwak Field, operated by Oriental Okwak Limited, offshore Nigeria. The NUPRC boss undertook a 4-hour detailed inspection of the vessel, examining critical areas including oil and produced water treatment unit, gas injection modules, seawater treatment facility, as well as gas turbine generators, electric house units, laboratory and control room, as well as accommodation quarters. The walkthrough enabled the Commission to assess the project compliance, quality and readiness for the sail away. The FPSO, once deployed, will handle crude production, processing, storage and offloading operation for the Okwak Field, one of the Nigeria's key offshore assets, expected to add meaningful value to the nation's output target. It says the development is timely given Nigeria's recent push to ramp up production to meet its OPEC Plus quota and restore investors' confidence in its upstream sector. Delivering his remark after the tour of the FPSO, the NUPRC boss says the FPSO's planned departure to Nigeria aligns with the project's 1 million barrel initiative, which seeks to increase the country's oil production by 1 million barrels. Komolafe also advised Oriental Energy to participate in the next licensing rounds, as the company had shown that it had capacity to take on projects in Nigeria's vibrant oil and gas sector. Also speaking, the executive vice chairman of the Oriental Energy Resource Limited, Engineer Goni Sheikh, says the Okwak Field development project represents a strategic milestone in Nigeria's upstream petroleum industry, demonstrating growing indigenous technical capability. The project entails the conversion of the Nordic Mistral, a double-hulled crude tankers with a 1 million barrel storage capacity, into a full integrated FPSO with a 15-year operational lifespan. The FPSO boasts a processing capacity of 40,000 barrels of oil per day and 70,000 barrels of liquid per day, and includes system of produced water treatment of 60,000 barrels of water per day, water injection with 60,000 barrels of water per day, gas processing with 15 million metric standard cubic feet per day, gas lift with 7.5 million standard cubic feet per day, and gas injection with 3.5 million metric standard cubic feet per day. The vessel accommodates up to 100 personnel and employs a 12-point spread mooring system. The Dutch-funded Hoti Nigerian program has achieved a major policy milestone with the federal government approval of 75% credit risk guarantee for tomato crate financing, a move expected to unlock 500 million naira in a special intervention funding for Nigerian horticulture sector. Mohammed Celestia Idris, country representative of the International Fertilizer Development Center and program director of the Hoti Nigeria, disclosed this during the 47th regular meeting of the National Council on Agriculture and Food Security at Muritala Square, Kaduna. It says the rise in CRG coverage from 30 to 75% within a year would boost lenders' confidence, expand access to credit for agribusinesses, and significantly reduce post-harvest losses in the tomato value chain. Idris further reveals that a 500 million naira intervention fund facilitated through NISA will support the expansion of the plastic crates manufacturing and distribution to farmers in key tomato producing states. It says HORTI Nigeria's collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and the National Tomato Policy Committee is part of the wider effort to modernize Nigeria's horticulture sector, strengthening food security and promote sustainable agricultural practice. HORTI Nigeria, funded by Embassy of Netherlands, is implemented by a consortium led by IFDC in partnership with East West Seed Knowledge Transfer Foundation, KIT Institute, and Wedgin University Research. All right, let's take a quick short break now. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Business Point, where we extract the Nigerian economy and the government policies. The Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, MAN, has thrown its weight behind the federal government's recent approval of 15% import tariff on petrol and diesel. The association, however, called for transparent, efficient, and well-coordinated implementation to ensure the benefit of the policy reach both industry and consumers, safeguard competitiveness, as well as prevent unintended cost burdens. MAN describes the move as a strategic step and patriotic policy that aligns with the Nigerian First agenda, noting that the import tariff aligns with the association's long-standing advocacy for local content development and patronage of Made in Nigeria. Director General, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, Segun Ajayi Kadri, in a statement says the association believes that the 15% tariff on the petrol and diesel will accelerate the country's journey towards energy sovereignty, industrial competitiveness, and sustainable economic growth, all anchored on the strength of Made in Nigeria products. He called for transparent price monitoring, insisting that government and regulators such as PPRA, MDPRA, and FCCPC should closely monitor domestic pricing to prevent excessive markup or anti-competitive behavior. MAN further pushed for a stable transition period, pointing out that in the initial months of the implementation, the government should support local refiners to ensure adequate fuel availability and prevent supply shocks or speculative hoarding, particularly with the festive period approaching. The association noted that the need for the government to create an enabling environment and provide targeted incentive to attract investment in the additional modular and conventional refineries, noting that this will strengthen domestic refining capacity, promote competition, and ensure long-term energy security. MAN also stressed the need to ensure stakeholders' harmony in the energy sector. Ajayi Kadri, while acknowledging the policy as a major step in the implementation of the Nigerian's First policy, reaffirmed MAN's commitment to supporting the federal government of Nigeria First policy direction, especially on local content development and homegrown industrialization. He emphasized that there is no better path to fixing Nigeria's economy than protecting local industries, encouraging local patronage, fostering value addition, and promoting industrial development anchored on local content. Man says it recognizes the importance, significance, and necessity of the approval of the 15% import tariff on petrol and diesel. It says it's deliberately designed policy instrument intended to protect and encourage domestic producers, curb dumping, and create a stable environment for local refiners to thrive. It's noted that the tariff will accelerate operational readiness of domestic refineries, thereby reducing disruption and stabilizing energy supply to industries. Man also says it supports the 15% tariff as an industrial policy instrument that will encourage the utilization of local refining capacity and promote backward integration across the energy value chain. It also anchored its support for the policy on the need to converse foreign exchange by reducing the nation's dependence on the imported refined petroleum products and strengthening the manufacturing base through a more stable and predictable fuel supply. The association also says the policy will generate employment opportunity, build technical expertise, and strengthen industrial linkage between refineries and manufacturers. All right, before we call it a wrap, let's take a quick look at the stock market. Nigeria equity are in the red gain as panic-driven sell-off wiped out roughly 1.8 trillion naira in market value within just 4 trading sessions this month. The NGX All-Share Index slid for the 4th consecutive day, dropping from 154,123.62 points as at last Friday's close to 150,026.55 points by Thursday, trimming year-to-date gain from 49.74% to 45.76%. According to investors, the panic sell-off are linked to the federal government's proposed 25% capital gain tax set to take effect in January 2026, which will apply to profit above 150 million threshold. Local fund managers also point to profit-taking strategies and reallocation of funds into fixed income markets as part of the reason behind the downturn. Additionally, geopolitical tension follow U.S. President Donald Trump's threat of military action against Nigeria are being cited as a potential drivers of foreign investors' exit. The banking sector, which dominates value traded throughout the week, bore the heaviest losses. Accessco, GTCO, Zenith Bank, and ETI all recorded steep decline as large institutional investors pared down position. Despite mild resilience from UBA, FCMB, and WAPCO, overall sector sentiment stayed negative. Consumers' names such as Dan Sugar, Interbrew, Guinness, and Transcorp also came under pressure, reflecting broader investors' caution amid concern about rising Q4 costs and slowing consumers' demand. Midweek weakness extended to MTN and Transcorp, deepening the index to 1.19% single-day plunge on Wednesday. Market turnover stayed robust with over 2.4 billion shares worth 77 billion naira changing hand across the week, a sign that the investors are rotating rather than exiting completely. Analysts describe the trend as a shift from high beta equities to cash and defensive as portfolios managers seek shelter from fiscal uncertainty ahead of the CGT rollout. Institutional investors, particularly high net worth traders and foreign funds, are taking profit now to avoid what they describe as a potential 25% haircut on future gains. All right, this is where we'll call it a wrap on Business Point today. Join me again on Monday on Global Television Channel 365 on DSTV and 276 on Star Times. To stay connected, kindly follow us on all our social media platforms at Global TV NG. Till I come your way again, I am Kike Lomo Okeri. I celebrate you all.